Hello everyone, I'm Garrett Severen with Nordhavn Southeast. Today we're aboard the gorgeous 2017 Nordhavn 63 Asturias. We're fortunate enough to have Tyler Folsum, who's the captain, on board. Him and his lovely wife Mary have been on board for about 4 years, and today they're going to take us through a lot of the recent upgrades that have been performed on the boat. So now we're standing in the cockpit of Asturias, and Tyler, I know you've done a few things back here. You've painted the doors, you've replaced some bearings, and I think you've painted the swim step. Can you run us through some of those things?
Of course, of course. So this has been a one-owner boat. He designed it specifically to have this open area back here in the cockpit. We've done many offshore long passages with the intention of going fishing. Asturias' cruising speed's about 8 knots, so that's perfect trolling speed. Lines in the morning, lines out at sundown. Work that's been done. We've painted this non-skid back here to keep it fresh. It's in the sun the entire time, and this is where people typically get on and off the boat. We have this oversized swim ladder here, flops right in the water, which is great. Tables and chairs, which can be sewed away during passages if needed. It gives you a lot more open area back here and just flexibility on what you can and can do back here. This way we have the grill, an electric Miele grill, a drink refrigerator underneath, and then a sink in the cockpit. And then, as Garrett said, yes, we got these aluminum doors repainted and refinished recently, about 2 months ago.
So now, Tyler, why don't you take us around the side walkway, and we'll go up to the foredeck and we'll check out what's up there.
Perfect. Follow me. So now we're on the bow, and up here is where we keep all of our tenders and toys. This is a Williams Sportjet 400 with Bombardier BRD Rotax engine. It's a jet drive. One of the concerns originally that was raised, the owners had young kids. They worried about prop strikes. On here, you don't have to worry about any of that. It's an internal propeller jet drive engine, very safe for especially around young kids. So here we have our second tender. This is a Portland Pudgy that has all of the hardware inside of the tender itself. It's a sailboat, super fun. It also doubles as a life raft in case of emergency. But this is a great little tender for putzing around on.
And you could put a small outboard on this, like a Honda 2.3 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would clip on right here to the transom, and then you would have yourself a second backup tender.
Fun little sailing tender.
Exactly. Yes, 1500 davit. Plenty of lift to get both of these comfortably off the boat safely. Outboard we have our gangway storage that plugs into here on the bow. Skylight for natural ventilation. This is through the forward cabins, and then we have the master cabin skylight aft. And then up here we have a our anchor. It's a 170-pound Delta style anchor with a Maxwell 3500 hydraulic winch. It's got about, I believe, 400 feet of half-inch chain.
Half-inch chain, yeah.
Yep, half-inch chain on here, and it has been bulletproof. I have never dragged anchor, and we have done about 13,000 nautical miles.
So now we're going to walk aft towards the Portuguese bridge. We do have a Portuguese bridge door on the pantograph hinge. And then also in the bridge we have a forward shore power connection. And then as we walk up here, Tyler can show us that we have both port and starboard side control stations.
Yeah, so one of the great features about this Portuguese bridge is all the storage that we have underneath. You can keep lines, fenders, toys. This boat usually is ran to the gunnels with equipment and toys and floaties and safety equipment. Plenty of storage for all of that. Port and starboard, we have our wing stations. So this makes it super easy when docking and maneuvering inside the marina and around. This one has an add-on here. We have our follow-up rudder control, so you can have your rudder control from your both wing stations. Thrusters, both hydraulic, the throttle, emergency start-stop, your horn, and then a Maxwell windlass control for the anchor in case you wanted to drop anchor from port or starboard, and we also have one inside the bridge. Another really useful piece of equipment is we have our bullhorn up here. This is great for talking to people that are on the bow or getting the attention of people that are might have some kind of, you need to grab somebody's attention out here.
So now we'll walk aft around the pilot house. By the way, the pilot house on the 63 is full walk around. And then on the aft deck, we do have a settee, loose furniture, And on this later model 63, we did extend the aft deck by about 20 inches, I believe. So there's a lot of room back there. So follow us.
Well, welcome to the upper aft deck. This area is, in my opinion, it's one of the underappreciated areas on this boat. It's a great place to hang out. You got this great blue bimini with heavy-duty stainless steel hardware to keep it all together. This settee here, loose furniture. We also have our Viking 8-man life rafts with custom release and mounting points here. Access to the mast, so you can work on all of your equipment and navigation electronics in the mast, the smokestack up there. You have CCTV camera that's plumbed to the bridge, so you can monitor all of your spaces and living areas, exterior living areas. And then you also have speakers here that are also wired to the bridge to have a nice zone back here where you can have music.
And the nice thing about this area too is that when you're at anchor, I mean, basically the way it sits, I mean, you're out of the breeze, it's nice and comfortable. It's just a great place to congregate in the evenings. All right, from the cockpit deck, we're gonna go through this Dutch watertight door, and then we'll enter the salon. Why don't you lead the way here?
Thank you. So welcome to the salon. This is a great living area on the boat. And here you can really feel the full effect of our wide beam. It's about 18 feet. Settee here, settee here. Both have storage behind, lots of dry goods. This has been a commercially classed vessel for my tenure on board, and we keep all of our safety equipment under the seats here, under the settees. Life jackets, immersion suits, full medical kits, and it still leaves us room for full provisioning for long distance cruising. In here we also have a Ghost security system on board and a PlayStation, which was an add-on. Originally the TV was on a lift, and they changed that and mounted it onto the wall. And then on the floor as well, you have access to your engine bay. So if you have to do any major engine rebuilds or repairs, you can bring all that equipment in and out from here in the salon instead of having to cut any holes or do any kind of vessel surgery. That's never fun. Fit and fiddle throughout, good handholds everywhere. And even the drawers for storage of plates and cups and china. Everything's fit on efficient rollers, and the fiddle on here keeps anything from sliding around in rough weather.
So just forward of the salon, we have the galley. The galley is equipped with dual sub-zeros, and we have a nice access here to the salon. So anybody that's in here prepping food or making drinks is part of the conversation, part of the group, and they never feel isolated. Tyler, is there anything important about the galley that we should know?
Well, in here we have redundant. So redundant fridges, redundant ice makers, which is always important on a vessel. You never can have enough ice on board. And then redundant freezers. We're a full electric boat, so there is no gas on here. Electric range, microwave, electric oven. New dishwasher installed about 3 months ago. Double sink, double basin sink here, and then a trash compactor underneath. Everything on here, again, with fit and fiddle. Everything has its home and its place. We usually do not find ourselves in calm seas. It's always been fairly adventurous, so it's important that everything doesn't slide around and everything has its home. And the galley is designed and laid out perfectly for that. In this hallway, we have our main breaker panel. This vessel is wired to take dual 50 amp shore cords. And here you have all of the breakers that are on board, minus the navigation equipment up in the bridge. HVAC, ship service, bilge pumps. You have access to your remote displays for your water makers, water levels, black and gray water tankage, and then your generator head units are going to be here as well as your displays for your inverters and power draw. So this is it's in a great location, very central, so that anybody walking by can take a quick look at it and quickly see any issues that might come up, and then notify the captain or rectify it themselves.
So forward of the galley on Asturias, we have 3 cabins. We have the owner suite off to the port side. And then off to the starboard side, we have a guest cabin with over-under bunks. Then forward of that, we have the guest head. And then all the way forward, we do have a cabin with 2 single bunks on either side. And then above those are pipe berths that pull out for additional guests.
So here we are in the forward machinery area. This is kind of the ship's water locker, as some would call it. Forward, you can see the through hole for the bow thruster, as well as the hydraulic bilge pump and chain wash pump for this forward bulkhead, or this forward watertight area. You have redundant Parker Village water makers that make about 20 gallons an hour each. Plenty of capacity to be able to fill the tanks and be offshore for long periods of time. Underneath here, you also have your holding tanks and gray water tank outlets and pumps. Redundant pumps on that as well. Redundant Headhunter Mach 5 house water pumps, freshwater pumps, as well as a brand new Torrid 40-gallon water heater just aft to port here. Plenty of space to maneuver yourself around in here, no boat yoga to be done, and plenty of space for all of the filters and spares that you might need to work on anything up here. A great area to have, and very, very useful.
So now we're going to make our way upstairs, where we have the wheelhouse, the captain's cabin, and the captain's head. So here in the wheelhouse of Asturias, we have a settee, 2 stood helm chairs, and the up-to-date electronics. And Tyler, why don't you tell us a little bit about these?
So this is the business end of the weapon up here. The displays we run are 3 touchscreen Hatman display screens. On the far port one, we will usually run CCTV. In the middle, we will run the radar. We have on board a 3-foot open array and a 12-inch closed face radar array up there. These are good up to 64 miles, but can extend out to 120 or so miles. Accurately though, your sweet spot is around between 12 and 32 miles. For my charts, we run time 0 on here, and we have our track lines. This boat has been all over the eastern seaboard down to the Caribbean. Again, like I said before, about 13,000 nautical miles in the last 3 years. We also have a FLIR camera for night cruising. That is usually run on this middle screen here, and easy to switch between everything. Redundant autopilots. This is our primary. It's a AP70 by Simrad. Each autopilot is ran and wired to its own autopilot pump down in the lazarette. So backup on backup. Bow and stern thruster. You have redundant VHF radios by ICOM. You have a NEMA, 2 NEMA displays here, port and starboard. So this one I have set to display my rudder indicator, wind and depth on the other side. Top, you have your John Deere head units for the engines. This is a single screw boat with a 5-blade Cooper nickel propeller. The main engine I have on board is a John Deere 6090. It puts out about 325 horsepower, which will provide us with about 8 knots of cruising speed, or 9.5. If I have some wind, I can grab 10 at full out. That here is this engine throttle right here, and then the backup engine is going to be the John Deere 4045. It's on a 3-bladed folding Gory propeller, and that's all cable driven. Redundant system that I can get into a little bit more when we're down in the engineering space. But again, the big theme of the day here is redundancy, redundancy, redundancy. Safety equipment and steering reservoir are underneath in the helm here. Those are usually located in other boats I've seen outside. Much better to have it inside where it's nice and dry and warm. Hydraulic controls, Seafire fire suppression system wired to the engine room in the lazarette. You have your ray cores for if you start taking any water in your fuel, you're going to be alerted up here before any damage can occur. And then electric high water alarms throughout the boat. Very smart, very streamlined, and very, very high class and commercial grade stuff here. Meant for some serious offshore cruising. I have never had any issues with her so far. She's been built like a tank. I always tell people too that in rough weather I'm not worried about the boat breaking, I'm worried about people breaking. So she has treated us very, very well.
On Asturias, there is a unique layout downstairs in the utility room. We've taken the stainless steel workbench, we've extended it to make it a little bit larger, and we did add another bunk down there. And then in addition to that bunk, we added a pipe berth, so you could essentially have 2 more people sleeping downstairs. And then through the utility room, we will enter the machinery area, the engine room, and the lazarette, and I'll let Tyler take us through there.
So as we pass through this watertight door here, we get into the engine room. Here's that John Deere 6090 that I was mentioning earlier in the bridge. This is our main propulsion plant right here. It gives out about 325 horsepower, push you at around 8 knots for cruising, 9.5 if you need to go full out. That might seem slow to a lot of people, but this is a full displacement boat. It's designed to run that way, and we're built for efficiency. So this vessel holds about 2,500 gallons of diesel, and we have a burn rate with the generator on at cruise speed of around 12 gallons an hour. It gives us around a 4,000 nautical mile range. Very, very efficient. As we move aft, we're going to have the backup engine. It's a John Deere 4045. Both of these engines have hydraulic PTOs on them, so you can run your stabilizers, your thrusters, your emergency bilge pumps, your windlass for anchor. My main generator is a Northern Lights 20 kW generator. It puts out enough power to power the entire vessel comfortably. And then I also have a redundant backup 9 kilowatt Northern Lights generator that'll be great for, it's a quiet running generator in the lazarette. Really good for at nighttime if you want to run a couple of air conditionings, but you don't need to power the whole house. Tankage to port and starboard engine room tanks here. Each one of these holds about 1,000 gallons. My day tank here holds 30 gallons. And then forward we have extended range saddle tanks, which hold about 200 gallons each. Hydraulic lead driven stabilizers by ABT Track. Those are under here. So those, I believe, have around a 12 square foot of surface area. Fantastic for cruising. They really, really do their job very well. Engine room blowers intake, and then the exhaust is aft, and the exhaust for the main is piped up through the stack, and at the top we are a keel cooled boat. We have our heat exchanger for this main engine is on the bottom of the vessel. There's no raw water running through it. It's a very, very, very efficient system, and it makes the maintenance on it, brings it way down, and the list of things that could possibly go wrong with it gets a lot shorter when you don't complicate it with any kind of raw water running through the engine.
Well, thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Tyler, for the guided tour.
It's a pleasure having you guys on board.
If you have any questions, please call any Nordhavn salesman or visit us at www.nordhavn.com.